So I didn't want to do this video. I really didn't. Uh, Partly because time started passing, and I really didn't think the subject would resonate as well. But after giving it much thought, consideration, and approving it with no one but myself, I'm going to do it. About a month ago, or 2 months ago, close to 2 months ago at least, Caitlyn Jenner had an interview with Ellen DeGeneres, and she, referring to Caitlyn Jenner, said that she believed marriage was between a man and a woman, basically saying she opposed same-sex marriage. This is a video on all of the reasons as to why a person shouldn't, but whatever. Um, and it's so, and really in this time that I've spent between hearing that initially back in September and thinking about it now as we enter the month of November, I've had a really hard time figuring out where she can even, how her position is the way it is. How do you, as a transgender person, say, okay, well, I'm part of the LGBT community, but that doesn't mean they can have equal rights. That doesn't mean I think so, at least. How do you do that? Look, when I think of people who oppose same-sex marriage, I think of heterosexual Christians, Bible-thumping Christians that I don't want to say are extremists, but are very religious. I'm very religious in some aspects too. Not to the point where it influences my political beliefs in what I would perceive as a negative way, where I obstruct people from having the same rights as myself, but that's a different story. The bottom line is that she is part of that demographic. She wants to live a life that is free of discrimination, free of bigotry, free of oppression, all the different things that members of the LGBT community have to go through every day, every week, every month, every year, every decade. And she just completely flip-flops on where you would think she would be. You know, my perception of her was, okay, well, you're part of that community, so you're going to support them. Nope, that's incorrect. She says she's traditional. And I don't want to go out and say, oh, if you're traditional, you would stay as you were. No, I'm not going to go out and say that. But how do you even have that view, just being what you are, being transgender, being part of that same community? You know, I don't get that. And her, honestly, it goes back to what I said in the other video, that people stick their noses in other people's business. It'd be like if I went up to her and said, you know what, you're going to stay a man. I want you to stay a man. You should stay a man. That's none of my business that she had a gender transition or a sex change, whatever. It's none of my business, none of my concern. It shouldn't bother me. It doesn't. But at the same time, marriage between homosexuals shouldn't bother her. They shouldn't bother anybody else. And they shouldn't be an issue to where you go, oh, you know what? Who cares if the majority of people and the law agree that this is something that homosexual people can do now? I'm going to stay in the 1950s and say, okay, well, nope, sorry, nope, you can't do it, nope. I mean, it's so ignorant. And it's from the person you would think it wouldn't be from. That's what gets me the most.